Right, welcome everyone to another video, and probably the final Wotv video, unless something happens, of 2024. The next video that you will see will be for 2025. Been a hell of a year, and as such, I would like to welcome you to the Wotv Honorary Yearly Award Show. That's right. We're going to do an award show this year, the Wotv Honorary Yearly Awards. If it hasn't been yearly before, it will be now, provided that the game doesn't end of service before the end of next year. Now, some disclaimers before we get into this award show. First off, don't be mad if whatever your favorite character or thing does not get mentioned in the awards. This is my award show, so as such, I am the judge, jury, and only panelist who will choose basically what gets awards this year. By all means, if you feel really slighted about it, host your own award show. But I don't think that I should need to tell Wotv players that there have been cutbacks this year, and as such, we have no trophies, we have no guests, we have no audience, we have no nothing this year. We're just gonna get through it and do it to it. Just a bunch of awards, no advertisements. It should be technically better than the Keeley Awards because it's not going to take 3 hours of your time. But with that being said, let's not make it take 3 hours of your time. So my first award goes to the Best Whale Collaboration. This is a collaboration that I think whales who went ham on it, spent a ton of money, got a ton of good value out of. And that is the Final Fantasy VII Advent Children collaboration. Between Cloud being really good now, and AC Sephiroth being good most of the other time, and Kadaj kind of actually doing okay still. I still lose some fights to him sometimes in Arena. The 2 vision cards as well from that event, I actually think that if you wailed on that event, you did really, really well. Yuna and Riku are diametrically opposed, and Pain, well, I mean, she's more free, so I just wanted to say that the AC collab, or the Advent Children collaboration, was definitely my whale collab of the year. And no, I'm not taking more questions about that. Next, Best Long-Term Character. Now, this is the character that I think ended up being the best value, and we can even show these characters off when we're not talking about collaborations. And by the way, we're just jumping around for awards. Ash, Mont, and AC Sephiroth are my choices for this year. Big reason that I chose AC Sephiroth is because he is absolutely been just in the meta for like as long as he's been around. He's starting to finally fall off, but I think if you got this character, you got more than your value out of him. He is one that if you maxed, you're probably pretty happy with. But in all honesty, because of his more recent kind of fall off for me, I've also put Ashen Mont on this list because when he came out, he was insanely powerful. Putting him with Spring Joom, of course, but this is a guy who is still very in the meta because of Earth Evade. If it wasn't for Riku, I don't think he'd be on this list, but he is still around, he is still kicking, and he's still kicking ass. So congratulations to Ashimont and AC Sephiroth for that award. Next up, Best Free-to-Play Collaboration. As I said, we're jumping around. The best free-to-play collaboration this year goes to, of course, Tactics. It has to be Final Fantasy Tactics. No other collaboration did as much for older characters as Tactics did, and from my most recent video where you saw that Agrius is one of the top echelon of characters right now, enough said. Ramza, and also Orlando, congratulations to all of them for really taking it. And you know, Delita, he's still actually on the tier list, so that is something. But yeah, there was no real extra cost to it if you've been playing the game for a while. you basically got this and everything for essentially really, really cheap, and it just helped you power these characters up. And for me, like right now, I'm still kind of just sitting on 1,000 Final Fantasy Tactics orbs, which I'm going to use, I swear, at some point next year. Maybe. All right. Now, next up is our End of Service Award. Now, End of Service Award is a special award. This goes to the thing that happened this year that I think did the most to convince people to quit the game, cause problems, and just really be shit. And I think that while there might be some argument in the comments below, this year it goes to the reserve slot system. Because the reserve slot system was not popular when it was announced, and it caused problems throughout the entire year, and it's still not very welcome. I'm still not even sure I truly understand it. Like right now, our guild battle has the reserve slot system, and just setting up characters, but it's a limited cost event. So your first party has to be limited cost, but you can set 2 100 cost characters in the background. I honestly think that this is just dumb. And for the solution that most people said they should have just done, which was, hey, why don't we just make a 5-member party system and just let everyone go nuts? They did that for Grand Arena, so it turned out that it was a bad addition. And yeah, I just don't think that a lot of people liked it. And I'm sure there's something I might be forgetting, but this is the one that stuck in my mind. Next, let's continue on and talk about the Angry Content Creator Award. Now, the Angry Content Creator Award is basically an award from me to about the thing that made me the most unhappy this year, and that is the decrease in live streams. Because honestly, while it is annoying to restream a bit, because it is usually like 2 hours of time that could be cut down to about a good juicy hour and we'd be okay. They just decreased the number of live streams. There just aren't as many live streams anymore, and it feels kind of bad because they were always fun. They were a way for me to talk to the community. They were one of the things that kept me invested in live streaming, and this year I've kind of just fell off completely from live streaming because I feel like a major reason for me doing it and people tuning in is just gone now, and that makes me sad. So that goes, congratulations, there is the Angry Content Creator Award to Gumi themselves. All right, next up, Most Interesting Tactic. Now this, you might think that this award is for just playing the game. It's not. The Most Interesting Tactic goes to Gumi for the most interesting idea they had this year for improving Wotv, and my answer is basically killing off a lot of the global group and really streamlining the entire game to keep it going, cutting out English voice acting, and basically just taking it down to whatever it needs to survive. It's been met with a lot of, I think, potential not really happy people, but I mean, it is kind of letting Wotv keep on chugging on both the global. They haven't shut down global yet. I think that is if they had to make a choice, this is probably the better of the choices, given the previous decisions is what it is, I suppose. But that's the Most Interesting Tactic Award. All right, now jumping back in, we're about halfway through the awards already. Next up, Most Improved Element to me. I chose the Fire element this year, and the reason I chose the Fire element this year was because AC Sephiroth. I mean, I think that Fire was way better this year as previous years to me, because it got me to get a Fire unit and fully build him and fully reincarnate him. Now, of course, everybody's going to have different opinions, but I feel like for the most of this year, Light wasn't that interesting. I feel like Dark really wasn't that interesting. Water had Exia, you know, lightning had its units, earth had its units, wind had its units, ice had its units, sure. But I think that fire was the one that actually, to me, got the biggest uptick for being a very, very competitive element, and one that really turned itself around. So there you go. Next up, my element of the year. This is the element that I think just had the overall best year for any given reason in my mind. Feel free to disagree and yell about it in the comment section. Is ice. And I think this was backed up as well by the fact that I did some polls asking people what their favorite element currently in Wotv was. When it came down to it, it seemed like ice was the overall most popular one, or at least one of the most popular. But I think with Gilgamesh just being what he was this year and in so many teams, I think that ice overall gets my nod, also because Agrius is in that element. And yeah, I mean, from a unit that didn't really exist. And I know some people were still using Agrius, but after that tactics event, I really think that ice had a hell of a great year this year. And this was not by any means an easy target to pick, because while I think fire was the overall the most improved element, and you know, wind, lightning, earth, water all had really strong showings, ice is just the one I kept coming back to, and you know, I'm even missing some units in it, so that's my thing. All right, next up, the Still Kicking Award. And this award goes to units that are somehow still in the meta despite their age. First, this is actually a tie this year. I chose Flag Glassy because once again she has her Master Ability 3 and she is back again in JP's meta. Just won't die. This girl is like most beautiful cockroach. She just won't die. Gumi just keeps finding ways to re-inject her into everybody's veins. So yeah, that's part one. And of course, number two, you can probably guess, is Agrius. This unit went from 0 to hero with a single event, and she is quite honestly just absolutely astounding. You know, it's, if we were to compare it to a meme, you know, you're as beautiful as the day we lost you. I'm so glad that Agrius is back and she got such a substantial upgrade. And of course the other tactics too, characters did too, but this is the one that is, if you look at tier lists, considered to be right up there with some of the most current units in the entire game. That's astounding. All right, next up, the most underestimated character for me this year that I feel like I completely missed, and I don't actually have her, so let's show the other version of her, is Summer Resnick. Summer Resnick was a character that I didn't think was ever going to be as big as she was. I thought that she was going to be generally okay, and I think I truly said, you know, skipping her wouldn't be that bad, but she's still tier 0. She's still absolute, and I don't think she's going to get out of tier 0 anytime too. So Summer Resnick was my most undervalued character. Feel free to go back and watch my videos and tell me how wrong I am that I totally biffed it on some other character. There's a few. All right, now next up, most anticipated collaboration. And the most anticipated collaboration for 2025 is collaboration. Now this collaboration I'm really looking forward to. It's going to have 3 characters only, and it's going to have the elements. And you know what? It's a collaboration that we've been waiting for a really long time. I'm super excited that this will be coming at a 0.5 or a full anniversary next year. I can't wait because I think that people are going to be really excited. It's going to bring a lot of people back to the game because it's just going to be so damn. Anyway, next up, best content creator of the year. Now you might think that this is a circle something, but it's not. This year, the best content creator for Wotv is 1,000,000,000,000,000,000% Peachin. from the JP side, who has done so many great videos, even if I think like he's quit the game and he's just using somebody else's account. His content has been so great. He's put out so much valuable stuff to look at and watch. He is one of the content creators that I watch the most. And I enjoy, like, he has helped a ton for doing a lot of the legwork when I just don't want to fit the bill anymore for Wotv and getting every character and maxing characters and all of that. So it has been invaluable. I think that he's slowly disappearing more and more, but at least, you know, him and me, we're still kicking around, so shout outs to that. There might be some great also other global content creators and whatnot. I don't want to besmirch you, but for me personally, Peachin is fantastic. All right, and now the last one, our last award is the Unit of the Year award. This is where I've made a lot of jokey awards tonight. This is the actual award that I'm going to take a little seriously, because in my opinion, this is, and I'm doing this for a reason. I think that in all honesty, there have been some absolutely fantastic units in the year of 2020. And really, I mean, like, it's been absolutely fantastic to see so many strong characters, so many like variety in characters. Despite that really huge power jump, there have been so many good, strong, long-term characters this year, and it's felt exciting for a lot of it. So let me get into, first of all, honorable mentions. And this is actually a 8-tier split, 8-way split on this one. I'm going to talk about the Verituses, because the Verituses, yes, Win Veritas came in 2023, and the other Verituses have come over the course of this year, basically, and they've had a significant amount of upgrades, equipment, and while I absolutely do not like how grindy it has made some things, and I think that the distribution of medals, especially with Earth and Lightning, are probably the most borderline awful things still because of limited Guild War. I do think that they provided an extra amount of content, an extra goal for people, and yeah, I honestly do feel like they are great. The artwork is great for them. They got limit bursts with full animations, and essentially they are free provided that you play the game, and you know, they were a reason to potentially try. I remember the first week Water Veritas being in Arena, she caused like a surge of players really trying hard again. That's pretty cool. So just for so many different reasons, like the support and everything, could they be better? Of course. That's why they're the one of the honorable mention. So shout out to the Veritas. They deserve honorable mention. Next up, and I'm not going to show the one that we've already been showing, although you should guess that she's going to be there. I'm going to shout out all of the tactics characters, because the tactics characters were dead and buried. It felt like we were never going to get anything ever substantial enough to put them remotely anywhere near where they could have been if they were brand new units. But tactics felt entirely brand new. It felt like it was not a money grab, as like I already had the characters, and it was just straight upgrades. I didn't need to spend anything close to a dime on the game. It was astounding, and I was kicking ass with these characters again. So the tactics characters do deserve an honorable mention for Unit of the Year, because even like Ramza has found unique and great ways of being used, but Agris just being like double S or triple S tier right now is astonishing. So shout outs to that. And our last honorable mention is AC Sephiroth, because AC Sephiroth was a huge meta shift. He was one of the most interesting units of the entire year, bringing the curse status effect, which changed so much. It was so meta warping. He was so everywhere. This is one of the most popular units of the entire year for just being like used a ton. And I have to say that I would be besmirched to not put him on as an honorable mention, because he was has been so everywhere for months. And to be honest, the introduction of Curse was just so interesting for me. I think that it was really cool to have something new, something so impactful, and something that mattered. And I hope that we see something like that again with some other status effect, because this was definitely one of the best units of 2024 to me. And so we come to the actual one. And of course, there's going to be characters that you think that should be honorable mention. As I said earlier, there were so many fantastic characters here, and we still have, like Gilgamesh, who hasn't even shown his true. But the character that I chose this year was not based on nostalgia or another version of a character. It was not a character that anybody really knew going in, but it was a character that earned respect. It earned their own respect for just being so top tier, so everywhere. Just one of the characters that I was so disappointed months and months later that I never got them when their initial banner came out. The unit of 2024, Umbra's pick for Wotv 2024 is Shrekken, or Shreka, depending on which version of the game you play. This is a character that when she came out, when she was announced, I still honestly didn't know who she was, where she came from, or was really that kind of wowed. But I did like her design, and I did try and get her into the tune of, I think, 8 multi-pulls on her banner, and just never got her and gave up. For the next few months, I suffered not having her, because she was and still is insanely powerful. She is one of the characters who has stuck around a really, really long time, and her presence is to be respected and is to be taken into strong consideration. And one of the reasons that I put her above everything else is because in Wotv is a game based a lot on nostalgia. It's based a ton on actual nostalgia and repackaging and selling nostalgia. AC Sephiroth is a ton of nostalgia. The Veritas units are FFBE nostalgia. Tactics characters are nostalgia. Every collaboration and everything, so many versions of characters such as Summer Shrekken and Gilgamesh getting new versions. This was a character that came out of nowhere, that was an original, that had, so much against her, and her power, her design, everything made her just one of the most omnipresent units, one of the most strong characters who synergized with a ton. I've seen her in so many different teams, but in all honesty, this is a character that when Anniversary rolled around, months after she had been released, I didn't have to think twice. She was the first character that I wanted off of my Select a Unit banner. I think that this character, and yes, I haven't actually used her that much. That's why her Bravery and Faith has not been in. Look, it's been a busy year for the barracks. But in all honesty, this is the character that I think is the overall best character of 2020. She is just something that came out of nowhere and left a lasting impact. Not nostalgia, not a version of another character, but something brand new. And she earned it. Absolutely earned it over every other character that I considered for this. And so, yes, that is my choice for 2024. And as I leave 2024 behind, as this is the final Wotv video that I will be making for 2024, I just want to say that it was a heck of a year. A lot of people predicted that Wotv, myself included, would be gone by now, and it's still kicking around, it's still surviving. Let's see how much further it can go in the future. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Hope you had a great 2024, and if not, hope you have an even better 2025. Remember, we're all in this together. I'm pulling for you. And yes, shoutouts to the Canadians who know where that's from. Later. Thanks for watching.